Joseph W. Brady addresses the changes encountered amid the COVID-19
I think
crisis.
some of the short-term things that we're seeing here in the high desert region. Bob Thompson out of Las Vegas does a lot of work with Escrow Junction, and he has a report he's recently put out. As I've talked to the local residential agents, they're having problems showing property because people don't want people coming in their house, and vice versa. There's been some cancellations. People are kind of uncertain. Some people think we're going into depression. We're not going to go into a depression. I think that the basic economic fundamentals that we have in our country are fairly strong. I know there are some people that don't want them strong because they want their political party to win. But at the end of the day, the economy was incredibly strong before this went in, before this happened. About a month ago, it was the day after. It was Sunday, the 22nd of March. It was the morning after my mom died. I was back here and I was walking along the river, walk down there along the river. I got a text from a broker I know really well out of Houston, Texas. Jay is the top office broker in downtown. His name's Jay Walls III, and he had sent me a text. He said that Goldman Sachs was predicting a 24% decline in the GNP in the next quarter. So that would be the April, May, June sector. My brother John, who is my fourth brother down, lives in Chicago. I'm really proud of him. He's done very well. He trades lots of bonds and derivatives every day, like some really incredible big numbers. He used to be on CNN all the time. And so I called him because I was a little shook. The week before, the stock market was not real good, and it set a lot of people back. It set me back. And I know Deb and I were both scared. So I called him. I said, "Hey, John, help me with this." He said, "Joe, look at it this way. You spent $100 in the first quarter. You're going to spend $74 in the second quarter. But you're going to be hoarding cash. You're not going to go to Costco as much. You're not going to fill up your tank as much. You're not traveling. You're not buying a cruise. You're canceling all that stuff. You're putting all your cash on the sidelines. The government's going to give some stimulus money. That money's going to pile on up. Third quarter, what are you going to want to do? You're going to want to go travel. You're going to want to go take a trip. You're going to go want to buy some. I think the days of literally zero interest for cars are going to be here for a long period of time. I mean, I say to my friend David Griner all the time, I just think you're in a really tough deal. The Brownings we know real well that own all the Valley High products up here. I mean, you got great people up here. Tim Watts with Victorville Motors. I mean, you've got some great people that are in the auto business. And think about it, they got all this inventory on out there, and people, and then they can't sell. I mean, I had to take that car over to have Mike Perper over at Valley High service it the other day, and there's all these beautiful cars out there. He said, "Joe, we can't sell them unless it's online." So I think there'll be some pent-up demand. I think that there are going to be some people who are going to be afraid to get out right away. I'm not going to be afraid. I love taking short trips, and I like trying new restaurants, as my waistline shows. So I got to work out every day. But I think short term we're going to see a hiccup. I think long term, Terry, we live in a great country and people want to buy. I will say this: the thing that really worries me about this pandemic is I don't think this is going to be our last one. And there's some people call it conspiracy theories. Did China do this intentionally? Did we know about this a long time ago? What did Bill Gates say in 2015 about this? Did Fauci say something after, Fauci said something like the week after Donald Trump said nobody can come in from China. And he said, well, I don't think this is a big deal. Then all of a sudden he sidestepped last week and then had to go back and say, well, that's not what I really meant with CNN. I think that there's a bigger issue here, and I think that you can call it whatever deep state you want. I think that I don't think this is the first time that we're going to see in our lifetime where a virus of some kind can be created by somebody across the ocean that just doesn't like us. We are the country that everybody wants to live. We're the place. I mean, I love Ireland. I love Scotland. I've been to both of them. I'd love to spend a month a year over there. But I love the United States of America, and there's some people who don't like us. And I think that the job that Trump has done, I don't love everything he does, and I don't like all the tweets he does, but I just had something personally happen where I have a prescription. I beat prostate cancer, and I have to take a pill every single day for the rest of my life, and that's okay. And I get it from a Canadian pharmacy, and it usually takes 4 weeks to get. Well, I didn't get it, and I reached out to him, and I won't say the name because I'll say it's about the president of the company. After I went on Facebook and I posted my dissatisfaction nicely, he figured out who I was, went into the computer, called me, and we had a conversation recently. And he explained what has happened, and he explained how prescription drugs and things are coming in from foreign countries, but that Trump apparently has put his foot down about the cost coming in here and what they're paying versus what we're getting paid to move that product at the end, and the impacts it's having on like the post office. Now, this guy was from Canada, so I said to him, I said, I think his name was Jordan. I said, Jordan, are you telling me that you think that Trump is doing right by the Americans? He said, yeah. He said, but there's a lot of other people in other countries that are not really happy about it. But he said what Trump was doing was trying to level the playing field. So he apologized. He said, you will get your product. In the meantime, I was able to call my doctor in L.A. and we had a backup plan. But I think those are, those are things that little challenges. I mean, Dr. Walden said at our board meeting the other night, Victor Valley College had Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. And I really think we all, again, we live in the greatest country. So, we can complain that the glass half empty or the glass half full. The glass is half full. We have plenty of land up here. Land sales are going to be slow for a while. Industrial is still doing really well. The supply chain still needs, look, you go to Costco, you can't get enough stuff, so warehouses are still going to be built. I don't know if I'd be building any office buildings, though. I'm doing work for a major lender, a major financial institution. They occupy a couple floors of space in Orange County. I was talking to the regional person who I report to, and he said that they have 2 floors, 40,000 square feet, in this nice tower. They pay $3.50 a square foot, so they're paying about $140,000 a month in rent for their employees. This week, when I reported in to him what I had done for him, he said they were only occupying 4,000 square feet of space. He said what their institution has figured out is that they don't need all this real estate. So that I think that's going to be a long-term challenge everywhere. I think that more landlords are going to have to sit back and work with tenants. I stopped by this morning to see a retailer that we do some business with, and they were showing me some nasty text messages from their landlord, and their landlord wasn't relenting on not only the rent, but they're having roof leaks, and they've been a long-term tenant. This business has been there for 40 years. And I thought to myself, you know what? As a landlord, you need to be smart. You need to work with your tenants. This is not like a little problem in Victorville. This is a problem across our country. And so I think real estate will change. I think the home thing will eventually come on back. We're the most affordable housing market literally in the state of California. So I think once that comes back, the base is doing well. Southern California Logistics Airport is on fire. You should go on out and interview Eric Ray someday out there. Him and his staff, they've done a great job. Keith Metzler with the city and Sophie Smith and Scott Webb. The city's doing a great job out there. Sperry's doing a great job. Apple Valley's got the train coming in. Barstow's got BNSF. So do we look at half empty or half full? I look at it half full, but am I concerned? Yeah. Am I tightening the bill a little bit? Yeah. But am I going to stop marketing? No.
Joe, how did the current situation impact you in relationship to the passing of your mother recently?
Terry, I remember driving back that Saturday afternoon with Deb. So for those that didn't know my mom, a lot of people up here knew her. She was 86 and a half years old, and she bore five very strong, independent boys, and I'm the oldest. Mark lives down in La Quinta with his great wife Linda. Doug and Tanya live up in Portland. They've done great. John lives back with his 4 great kids back in Chicago, and Todd and Karen live in Chicago as well. My mom left 10 grandchildren. she had been diagnosed up here in Apple Valley. So she lived in Rancho Mirage, and we brought her up here, and Dr. Nair and his group diagnosed her with dementia back in July of 2018. And she was doing well. I mean, she was progressing well. There's times that you could really see it. And all of a sudden, she was having lunch. It was the week before. It was the 21st, probably. So it was 13th, I guess, Friday the 13th. She was just having lunch, and her caregiver, Stella, who's been with us for years, had given her a glass of water, and all of a sudden her arm started shaking. Well, one thing led to another. She lived right across the street from Eisenhower Medical Center. Ultimately, she went in there that night, and after a series of tests, by Sunday afternoon, they had told my brother John that she had a malignant brain tumor. She was very coherent. The doctor explained to her, Mrs. Brady, this is what you got. These are the issues. These are the options. Chemo, operation. She said, I've lived a great life. I got, 5 sons and 10 grandchildren. And what are you going to do at 86 years old? So I think the doctor was very smart to give her that option rather than saying, why don't we do this so I can charge out $200,000 Medicare? Okay, I just think. What was weird, though, is that they told her, they told us that she had 2 months to 12 months to live. So the next day, because of the COVID issue, and now things are starting to get a little dicey, and she's right at Eisenhower. She lives right across the street in the Springs. They bring her on home, the ambulance, and the hospice is there. And they put her in bed, and Terry, you know what? She never regained consciousness. And that was weird. So John immediately flew out. I believe it was Wednesday the 17th or whatever, and we both met down there. And it was raining. It was just kind of a cold day, and we didn't say our goodbyes. We didn't think it was our goodbyes. We thought she'll just kind of come out of this. And Saturday morning, unfortunately, God had a bigger plan. So I believe deeply in God. Deb and I drove down there. It was one of those drives that you just nobody wants to ever do. We've all done it in a different way. We went over to the funeral home and saw her. Now, let me tell you what I've learned. I've learned more about Chet Hitt's business than I ever wanted to know. I want to throw a plug out to Chet and his team out there. While somebody else is handling this at Forest Lawn down in Cathedral City, and my mom will be buried in Northern California. The issue of the COVID precludes you from having more than 10 people at a service. Now, that also includes the person, she'll be buried where my grandparents, and she has a casket and the whole 9 yards. So the person driving the hearse is standing there, he is counted as one. So you get into this, okay, so check it. I mean, I got 4 great brothers and 4 sisters-in-law, and I'm sure some of the grandkids want to come see grandma, and the plan was in a perfect world. It was all taken care of before. She would have passed. We would have had Mass at Sacred Heart and done a celebration of life at the club, and then she would have been transported north. I've learned how much it costs to move a body on Southwest Airlines. I think it's $525.95, plus the cost of the metal wrap that has to go around it, which they dispose of one time. That's $250. It's $3 or $3.50 to drive them on up. Chet's office was great, so I used them kind of didn't use them as a sounding board. I reached out to him and said, hey, what is right and wrong? In the meantime, we can't do anything. So my mom is, as they say, resting comfortably, I hate to say. Forest Lawn has been incredible. Lucinda Strange and her team have been wonderful to deal with down there. We can't make any plans. So Doug and Tanya, they both work. John and Todd, they both work. Mark and Linda, they both work. Linda's the only one right now that she works for the school district down in Indio, so she's kind of off between now and the end of August. Mark works. I work. I'm a little flexible. Deb works. She's a little flexible. So trying to get, 2 flights from, Chicago and Portland and all go to where we're going to go in Northern California outside of Oakland has been rather challenging. Again, as Dr. Walden said the other night at our meeting, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. You really have to be flexible about this. So what's going to probably happen is Mom will be buried first. My brothers have all committed to a service probably at the latter part of October. My mom knew a lot of people. Let me close and tell you this. I'm proud of my mom. Proud of what she did. She raised a lot of money for a lot of causes. She was a fundraiser before you got paid for fundraising. She was president of Junior Philharmonic. That has something to do with the Music Center. She was president of Stanford Women's Guild, Stanford University. She was president of Hollygrove, big orphanage over in Hollywood. She was involved in a lot of stuff. I was lucky my dad did well enough that she wanted to be involved in stuff, and she was good. And that was back in the day when, spouses hopefully worked and the other spouses were doing stuff to better the world. But, my favorite story about her was she had two really big clients that are pretty famous and were really good to her and to all of her causes. That was Walter O'Malley, who was the founder of the Dodgers, who moved them out from Brooklyn. We were lucky to attend church with him and his son Peter down at St. Basil's. And he really liked my mom, and they had the same thought pattern. And then Joe at Trader Joe's. I never got to meet Joe. I really now wish that I was years older. I would have liked to have said to him, "Hey, could I, do your real estate site planning for you someday? Because I think you're gonna be good." But at the time, he wasn't that big. I think the funny closing story about my mom is this: my mom was an incredible pianist, incredible. She taught kids to play the nationals. When it's your mom, you just think that everybody's that good. Well, I didn't realize how good she was until one day, John and Todd were in high school. They were both going to Loyola High School. John was a highly acclaimed football player. Actually made the LA Times. It was pretty cool. And this lady by the name of Tina Turner called my mom. There's no cell phones in those days. And she calls my mom and said, "Hi, my name's Tina Turner and I need piano lessons." My mom said, "Hey, great. And who are you?" And she goes, "Well, I'm Tina Turner." My mom knew who Buck Owens was. She didn't have I remember I would have my mom drive me up to where the Monkey Mobile was, on Barham Boulevard, off of, the Hollywood Freeway. She had no clue who Tina Turner was. So, I was disappointed as we went through her Rolodex, and we just updated it with the help of Taylor Titus in our office. I couldn't find. I'm going to reach out and find out, because they kept a long-term relationship, and I never asked my mom where it stopped.
Did she teach you to play piano?
She tried, and I think she found out that her patience were not only really short, but I think the left hand and the right hand. I was a pretty good basketball player, a pretty good golfer, pretty good athlete, but the two fingers didn't work. But she did have one of her sons, Todd, that was an incredible pianist. I mean, he's still an incredible pianist. I mean, we were lucky to have some pretty nice pianos in the house, and Todd picked it up. It was almost like a natural to him. And I had said earlier that he was written up in the LA Times. He was a hell of a football player. And the picture I still have on my wall, and it's now in my mom's house, had him, going after somebody pretty hard, and where he was doing a recital. And the key, it was a full-page story. So to get a full-page story in the LA Times, the high school kid's a pretty big deal. The idea was that they're trying to go after his fingers and break his fingers, but he can still play. He's incredibly good. Stella, who had worked with my mom for years and years and years, had sent us a couple clips of her plan and I'm hoping that somebody will come forward, through all of her great friends. There will be some things that I will get to kind of reconnect. You go through your mom's Rolodex, you find all kinds of, but yeah, Todd's great. I'm really proud of where he's gone with this piano. So the moral of the story here, everybody, is this: my mom and I had a great relationship, but for those of you that know I'm hard-headed, it started somewhere, and my mom and I could both butt heads pretty hard. And I kind of now regret that there were times that I should have gone down sooner, that I didn't. We talked fairly frequently. I've saved a couple. I didn't save. I just checked my voicemails the other day to clean them out, and there were two of them on there. And they were both mom being mom, and mom, letting me know exactly how she thought. And you know what, Terry? I'm going to save them forever. So she's a great lady, and love her, and hopefully she's taught my brothers and I and our sisters-in-law and our grandkids to do great things, and she's now with her mom and dad, and that's what life's all about. So thanks for asking.